Hello, hello, and welcome to the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. I'm your host, Karen Yankovich, and we are wrapping a bunch of episodes in a row on LinkedIn strategy, kind of going back to my roots. This is the fifth of five in a row, and I'm going to teach you today what I like to call the LinkedIn loop. So it's really kind of wraps up everything we've been talking about for the last few weeks. So if you've missed the last few episodes, you're definitely going to want to go back and listen to them. You know, so many people are talking about visibility right now. And visibility is such a huge part of what I talk about. So it is a means, not the end, right? Like it's not like visibility, the end, right? Visibility is the means to getting you where you are, but it's at the top of the funnel, right? And I'm not even talking about a funnel here. I like the loop. Like I like this to be like circular, right? Because it makes it's first of all, it's I don't know, it feels more feminine, right? Like a funnel is like hard and triangular and a loop is like circular and soft, right? And I think that it helps you, it should help you understand that there's nothing like, it's not, you don't want to get stuck anywhere on this. You just want to keep moving through this loop, right? So let me tell you what is this loop thing that I'm talking about here? Okay. The LinkedIn loop, as I like to explain it, it starts with visibility, right? Visibility is so important, but the visibility leads to credibility, which leads to conversation, which leads to conversion. And this is where I want you to be at the conversion piece of this, right? It's like so many people are saying, if I just post more, people will hire me. But that's the visibility, right? That's content without positioning. That's just noise, right? So if you're over posting, without the positioning piece, without the credibility piece, visibility, it's just visibility without credibility. What good is that, right? It's soul sucking, right? It's not just time sucking, it's soul sucking. And then maybe you have credibility, but that's not visible, right? So you have this great, amazing expert energy that no one ever sees. So I want to take you through this loop so that you're not in this visibility trap, right? Like, maybe you're somebody that just posts motivational quotes every day, but you don't ever talk about what you offer because you feel like it's too salesy. You must talk about what you offer, right? Or maybe you are like a corporate powerhouse with 25 years experience. I can't even tell you how many women I talk to. And when I talk to them, I'm like, wait, what did you do? What have you done in your life? Who did you meet? Who did you train or hang out with or whatever? And they don't talk about this. Your profile still reads like you're in middle management, right? And honestly, this is so common. I can think of somebody that I spoke to a couple of years ago who, you know, she's been listed in top 10 women who, not the kind you pay for, right? The kind that are in Fortune magazine and, you know, that the world knows these people. She's done incredible, amazing, unbelievable things in her life. And when we did her LinkedIn profile, we wrote her LinkedIn profile for her. She was like, oh, I feel like I'm bragging. I was like, really? Because you did all this stuff. Like, we didn't make any of this up. You did this, right? So you have to lean into and own your credibility, because otherwise there's a gap, right? So visibility isn't, and in my definition of visibility, or the kind of visibility that I want you to understand and learn about, isn't the kind of visibility that means you're seen by everyone. I want you to be seen as an expert by the right people. Okay. So if visibility is the first step, right? How do you build the credibility that makes people say, I need her in my corner, right? So that's where we're going to go next. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk a little bit about how to layer trust onto that visibility using authority markers like PR, thought leadership, profile positioning, right? I want to point out some places where you might be dropping the ball, and I want to show you how to fix this. So let's talk a little bit about what credibility looks like. And actually, before we even talk about what it looks like, I want to talk a little bit about why. So many of the women that I work with are in some kind of transition, right? I've talked a minute ago about the woman that was a 25-year corporate powerhouse, and then decides that she's going to retire and be a consultant. And because she's never been a consultant before, she feels like she needs to start from the beginning, but she's not starting over. She's starting from power. She's starting from the power of all of those years of experience, but because she's never actually had a contract as a consultant before, and insert whatever's true for you in this story, right? Because she's never had a contract as a consultant before, she underprices herself. She doesn't have the testimonials or the references to give people. So why I think having a credibility strategy is important is because the credibility keeps you where I need you to be while you're building up your bank of business, right? So media features, client success stories. You've got success stories if you've got 25 years in corporate, right? Specific high value offers, a LinkedIn profile that's sweet, right? And that it reflects the leader you are now and who you're becoming, not like a resume that tells us who you were 5 years ago, right? So many women miss the mark talking about a bio, like their about section is all about the past, right? No, tell me, step into the job you want. Tell me, like, be the person you're becoming, the person you used to be, right? Make sure that you have a call to action in your profile. Let people know, I want to talk to you, and here's how you can talk to me. Here's what you do. Here's what I want you to do next. Don't drop that ball, right? Like the ball, they're there, they're excited, they want more, and you haven't given them an opportunity to, you haven't shown them how to take that next step, right? Show them, give them social proof, right? You want to make sure that that you're not skipping this piece, because social proof is so valuable. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, there's more than 100 LinkedIn recommendations. That's social proof. That's not me calling my mom and saying, write something nice about me so I can put it on my website, right? I'm not saying that's what you do, but there's a piece of you that knows that when you're asked for references, you're only going to get the people that they know, right? But with a LinkedIn recommendation, you can click right through that LinkedIn profile to that person's profile, and you can reach out to them and you can talk to them and you can see if they're credible, right? So you want to have social proof, and you can share advice, but you also need to make offers, right? You need to make offers. You need to tell people how to work with you. I think about a client. I'm thinking about one of my clients. And her name was Jessica, and she had an amazing background. She had years and years and years of experience, had many, many years in the same job, but zero visibility of the credibility that she had. She had a PhD, and almost nobody knew that she did, right? So simply updating her LinkedIn profile and adding in all of the things that she earned, right? These are not things we made up, that she earned, when she started owning the things that she earned, everything turned around for her. And I think she's still in corporate. She chose to be still in corporate. I think she's probably doubled her income in the past 2 years, because maybe even more, because I know that she's had raises and promotions and raises and promotions because people didn't even know she had the credibility she had before we started working with her. Right? Does that make sense? So credibility without all these other things, without a call to action, without letting people know you have that credibility, without any social proof of that credibility, is like being the smartest person in the room who never opens their mouth, right? So this is why PR is such a big part of the work we do, and she's linked up. This is why where I think PR and LinkedIn work together so nicely, because being featured in the newspapers and magazines is earned media, right? And it's a level of credibility. So you need to know how to get that media, to get that PR, to use PR to get those media features, and how to share that strategically so that it can pay off. All right. So now you got the visibility and you've got the credibility, and they're aligned. Let's talk about the part that so many people skip completely. And that is the conversation. The conversations are what leads to cash, right? So, I know that so many people are getting spammed on LinkedIn. Ignore it, please. Just delete them. Don't worry about it. Don't be that person, but don't worry about those people. I want you to have an intentional outreach plan on LinkedIn. You must have an intentional outreach plan on LinkedIn, because if you don't, I don't know who you're going to talk to, right? Like I don't want you chasing strangers. I want you to activate warm leads with this credibility that you already have, right? So there's ways to do this. And we've talked about this in a previous episode a couple of weeks ago, but there's ways to do this with simple DMs, right? Make sure that you're referencing something relevant, right? Something personal or timely. I saw you. I remembered you. Oh my gosh, I just had a green smoothie, and I remembered we had those green smoothies in Arizona at that conference, and made me think of you. I wanted to reach out and see how you're doing. Or I just watched your YouTube video where you made a green smoothie, and I made your green smoothie, and here's what I thought about that, right? Like, it doesn't have to be somebody but reference something relevant, right? So, and make sure it's personal and that it's timely. And then can position yourself a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of positioning there. If you recall, like if somebody, as you may recall, I blah 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 blah, right? Or I made you a green smoothie, and it's funny because I do a lot of YouTube videos for my business, helping women, blah blah blah, and I had the green smoothie with me on my video, and it gave me a chance, positioning, right? Positioning. And then give them an invitation. Like something simple, not a pitch, just open the door to the conversation. Hey, Jenna, I loved your post on how the consulting world is shifting. And it really aligns with the women that I work with. I help high-level consultants land 25K and 50K contracts by leveraging LinkedIn and PR together. And I'm wondering if there's a conversation. I wonder if we should have a conversation, because there might be some opportunities to collaborate. Right? Just something simple like that. You are not pitching them. Make it so clear that you're not pitching, right? I'm referencing a post that she did, and hopefully I've already commented and engaged on that post, right? You want to make sure you're doing that as well. But you have to be doing this outreach. You must be doing this outreach, because if you're not having conversations, inviting people to these conversations, everything stops, right? That's where the funnel just dies. And that's why I like the loop. We want to continue to close the loop, right? So, I believe that when we have conversations that are just positioning us and we're just providing value, the business follows. But we have to have the conversations, and they have to feel and truly be get to know you conversations and collaborative conversations. And if the business opportunities are there, then there's something to talk about. If they're not there, maybe you can introduce each other to somebody, right? But I can tell you this: if I ask 100 people where they got their biggest opportunity from, 99 of them are going to tell me a referral. And referrals happen from conversations, not by 65 million TikTok videos, right? Not saying don't do TikTok. I'm not the person to listen. I'm not the person to get advice on TikTok, for sure. But you want to make sure that you are having conversations, because that's where the referrals happen. Because even if you're talking to Jenna, and Jenna might say, oh, you know what? I have a group. I'd love to bring you in front of my group. Now you have an opportunity to get, one to many, right? So this is kind of how that all works. So let's recap this loop a little bit. The visibility gets you the attention. The credibility builds the trust. The conversation creates that connection, and the conversion happens when that call to action is aligned, it's simple, and it's confident. And the LinkedIn loop works when all 4 steps are connected. And so many people stop at step 1. They stop at the visibility piece. They're posting, and they're not building relationships. They're not engaging. They're not having conversations, right? Conversations don't have to happen just in the DMs. You could be jumping into other people's posts on LinkedIn and jumping into those conversations. The conversation piece is what creates that connection, and that connection happens. That conversion happens when that connection is made. So here's what I got for you. I'm going to invite you to audit your LinkedIn loop. Okay. I want you to be able to see where you're getting stuck, right? I want you to see where you're getting stuck, because I want you to stop. Right now, so many women I talk to are doing 80% of the work and getting 10% of the results. I want that to flip. I want you to be getting results from more of that work that you're doing, so you can do less work, right? So we can build that loop together. So I have 2 things for you. One, if you go to KarenYankovich.com/315 download, I have a LinkedIn loop audit for you that you can just audit yourself, right? It's just you can just go through it and see how you're feeling like you're doing in these places. No judgment. Please know this is a no judgment zone. I am here to support you every step of the way. I want there to be more wealthy women in the world. And when you start to close this loop, this LinkedIn loop, there will be you're going to be on your way to being more wealthy. And then also, if you want some help, if you want me to help you build your loop, we can build your full loop together inside She's Linked Up. Just grab a spot on my calendar at KarenYankovich.com/call, and we can chat about it there. So create your LinkedIn loop, audit your LinkedIn loop. Let's talk about this. And if this was valuable to you, or any of the last few episodes I've done on the LinkedIn strategy, share this episode with your network. I would love that. And because what happens is then your network gets to know me. And then if you tag me, please tag me. If you tag me, then I can share it with my audience, right? And then you get credibility in front of my audience. We're building our loop, right? You're getting credibility in front of my audience. I'm getting credibility in front of your audience. And we're our loops are starting to intertwine, but that's okay, because that's how we do this together. We don't have to do this in an isolation, right? We can support each other. So share this episode. If you're feeling it, share it, tag me, so that I can share it with my network. And if you're feeling it, I'd love a rating and review from you. And I'll be back here next week with another episode of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast.